Hello, everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson. Also on BrightShine right here in the city of Memphis in the county sheriff state of Tennessee. Today's date, Sunday afternoon, January the 25th, 2025. Time, 4:05 p.m. First, say thank you to my family, my support for you. Continue to support. I'll continue to keep myself employed in the Memphis tri-state area. Continue to further my education by studying business administration, contract and marketing. I took a break from going to school. In the future, I will go back to school and continue to work on earning my associate degree, well, other degree, business administration, contract and marketing. Now, I'm finna start my Facebook Live. Hello, everybody. My name is Eric D. Johnson, also known as right here in the city of Memphis in the county sheriff state of Tennessee. Today's date is Sunday afternoon, January the 25th, 2026. 2026. January the 25th, 2026. The time is 4:07 p.m. First, I thank you to my family, my support for me, continue to support. I'll continue to keep myself employed in the Memphis tri-state area and continue to further my education. I studied business administration, contract marketing. Present time, took a break from going to school. In the future, I'm gonna go back to school and continue to study business administration, contract marketing, and continue to work toward earning my associate degree as well as other degree. Now, first, I want to say thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son of God, for all the blessings and the guidance He provides us all with. Continue to pray about natural disasters. We don't all live in the same place on this planet, on this earth, on this globe, on this planet. And to continue to pray about wars that are being fought. And continue to pray because you need prayer. Now, let me say this. I know that this past week, hold on, sign in here. Let me log in right quick. So like I said, this past week, on Monday, as you know, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. birthday was being celebrated all over the world, all over the world. And so, want to be thankful that a man who stood for justice and equality, stood for civil and human rights for all human beings, tragically lost his life by assassination. And he tried to, like I said in the speech, he tried to help somebody. He tried to help any and everybody that was a human being. And so, with a day of service and everything, and any and everybody who was interested in participating or could participate. Some people couldn't. I mean, some people couldn't participate because of work-related and work-related issues and things like that. But still, was still in the spirit. Still in the spirit. And Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the Civil Rights Movement, freedom for all human beings has not been forgotten. And that's the good thing about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, that all human beings are being thought of. Because this man, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., didn't just think about himself, didn't just think about his immediate or extended family. He didn't just think about black/African Americans. He thought about all human beings having civil rights and human rights, having equality, having freedom, and having opportunity for advancement, for improvement, for progress. So, thankful that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has a birthday here in the United States of America, and he is thought about all over the world. All over the world. Now, like I said, this is the first part of the year. The month of January is almost coming to an end. Got some scripture from the Holy Bible, the King James Version of the Holy Bible. Like I said, it's the first part of the year. Today, because like I said, this first part of the year, we're going to get the year started out right. We're going to be reading from the book of Matthew, chapter 3. We're going to read that whole chapter, verses 1 through 17. 1 through 17. Again, we're in the New Testament of the Holy Bible, King James. I'm reading from the King James Version of the Holy Bible. We're in Matthew chapter 3. And we're going to read verses 1 through 17. And it reads, "In those days came John the Baptist, preaching in the wilderness of Judea, and saying, Repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. For this is he that was spoken of by the prophet Isaiah, saying, The voice of one crying in the wilderness, Prepare ye the way of the Lord, make his path straight. And the same John had his raiment of camel's hair, and a lantern girdle about his loins, and his meat was locusts and wild honey. Then went out to him Jerusalem, and all Judea, and all the region round about Jordan, and were baptized of him in Jordan, confessing their sins. But when he saw many of the Pharisees and Sadducees come to his baptism. He said unto them, O generation of vipers, who hath warned you to flee from the wrath to come? Bring forth therefore fruits meet for repentance. And think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father. For I say unto you, that God is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham. And now also the axe is laid unto the root of the tree. Therefore every tree which bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire. I indeed baptize you with water unto repentance. But he that cometh after me is mightier than I, whose shoes I am not worthy to bear. He shall baptize you with the Holy Ghost and with fire, whose fan is in his hand. And he will thoroughly purge his floor and gather his wheat into the garner. But he will burn up the chaff with unquenchable fire. Then cometh Jesus from Galilee to Jordan unto John to be baptized of him. But John forbade him, saying, I have need to be baptized of thee, and comest thou to me? And Jesus answered said unto him, Suffer I to be so now. Suffer it to be so now. For thus it becometh us to fulfill all righteousness. Then he suffered him. And Jesus, when he was baptized, went up straightway out of the water. And lo, the heavens were opened unto him. And he saw the Spirit of God descending like a dove and lightning upon him. And lo, a voice from heaven saying, This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. So like I said, we're going to get the year started out right. Reading from the King James Version of the Holy Bible. Reading in the New Testament from the book of Matthew, chapter 3, verses 1 through 17. So like I said, we're going to get the year started out right. So like I said, get the year started out right. And we'll say this. I know that many of us all across the United States of America are experiencing inclement weather, snow, sleet, or a mixture of freezing rain, whatever. And this past weekend, when I made my video last weekend, the weather was different then. The weather was different. It wasn't no snow. But I can say this, that the weather, the meteorologists, the weather forecasters, the meteorologists and all those, you know, in that field. They getting it right. We have all these advancements, improvements, progress in technology. First of all, technology, you know, education, you know, this the good thing about is when we as human beings, we use our brain to benefit all of us as human beings. All of us as human beings. When we as human beings use our brain to benefit all human beings. And that's really what's being done. You know, the foundation was laid with the League of Nations for all human beings to have an organization to benefit all human beings. And out of the League of Nations, we have the United Nations. Because see, a lot of things that's being done in the United States of America, the United Nations is doing for all human beings with the organization, the United Nations. Every human being is being thought about. And with all the technology, through education, all the advancements, improvements, the progress, you know, all this engineering that's producing all these products, all these instruments that we use, like to forecast the weather, you know, to forecast weather. So it's for all of our benefit, because we as human beings all over this earth benefit from the forecasting of the weather. So when it came to the weather, I mean, they got it right. They got it right. Because, you know, last weekend, think about it. Last weekend, the weather was different. Now, let me say this. In this region, I'm going to say this. Here in the city of Memphis, County Sheriff, State of Tennessee, the weather was different. But I know, because I was watching the football game and so on and so forth, the weather in the northern states, you know, in some parts of the Northwest, Northeast, Midwest, they already been experiencing snow, cold temperatures, and all that. While down this end of the country, we weren't experiencing the kind of weather that others in other parts of the country were experiencing. Now, this weekend, we are experiencing the weather that other people in the United States was and still probably still experiencing. Cold weather, snow, ice, all of it. You know, it didn't get, you know, the temperature hadn't dropped past 5 degrees. I can say that. You know, we in the teens. Are we in the teens? It's like 17 right now. Yeah. Right here in the city of Memphis, in the county sheriff state. Here it's 17. We in the teens, but we haven't gone like 10, and we ain't got to them single digits like in them northern states. They like 9 degrees, you know, 5 degrees below, and then you start talking about this below zero and all that in the northern states. Well, we ain't got that far yet. We 17 degrees right now. But, you know, I can say that the weather people, you know, they got it right. You know, and, you know, with the help of, you know, education, of course, which makes it possible to produce all these instruments that we use, like satellites, drones, you know, stuff out in space, satellites out in space, rockets to put the stuff out there in space, all that. And so the weather people got it right. I mean, down to the hour, down to the minutes, even seconds. They got it right. CBS, ABC, NBC, Fox, CW, the news people got it right. Because last week, like last Sunday, right, it started with them forecasts, giving the forecast, the weekly forecast. They forecast all the way from, just like right now, they'll give the forecast from Sunday, and then they'll give you a forecast all the way up to next Sunday, which they already have. Because as of right now, we got snow, and supposed to been having, which we did, because last night they had forecast, like sleet and a mixture of sleet and snow. And I was up last night. 1 o'clock in the morning, because I ate my dinner. What time was it when I was watching this movie? It was like 12:30 or something. I ate my dinner or whatever. And so, but they had already forecast that it was going to come at night, which it did. That's what I'm saying about it being right, about the forecast being right, because they had already said that on Friday such and such, and it did. All day Friday. Because earlier during the week, last week, it was like they know it was coming, and it was like possible, like about 10 in the morning or in the afternoon. But it was like early in the week, like Monday. They know the snow was coming. It was like around what time or Friday. They know it was coming Friday. It wasn't gonna come, and then it didn't. Then nothing happened before Friday, and so they got it right. The forecast, they got it right for the whole area. When they said Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they was right. It didn't come Friday, and then they was like, okay, on Friday, it's gonna be like It was possible that in between around about 10 and around noontime, it's possible you might see some flurries, some snow flurries. But that was like on Monday. So, they've been watching, they were still watching and everything. They was right. And then, the forecast, of course the wind blow. Everything about the wind. No matter what direction, it can come from the east or the west. It's all about the wind. And so the wind blow. They were still Friday. Look, Friday, it's definite. We're going to have snow. Now, with that snow, it's going to be snow first. It ain't going to be no sleet first. It all depends on where you live now. Because the way the wind blowing, coming out of Texas, some parts of Mississippi, they not going to get the snow like we got. What they going to end up getting, because they're a little bit lower, they're going to get ice and then snow. So when it comes to our area, we're going to definitely get snow. Because it's coming from this direction and, coming across Arkansas. It's going to come across. So by the time we got to Wednesday, it's still Friday. So they still got it right. The forecast, the meteorologist got it right. Because then nothing happened before Friday. Nothing happened before Friday. Friday came, the temperature was still, they got that right too. Because they had already said that, it's going to be snow. That's the reason why we going to get snow, because the temperature going to be all these different locations. It's going to be a little bit different. It's just when it's going to come. So when Wednesday, then Thursday, then we get to Friday morning. By the time we got to Friday morning, on Thursday, it already said that, look, snow not going to come until later on that evening. So be prepared. 6 o'clock, from 6 o'clock, it's going to be a weather alert. From 6 o'clock all the way to midnight, and then from midnight all the way to Saturday morning, the strong possibility. What's the percentage? Oh, it's a strong possibility you're gonna get snow. Now some of them, in northern Mississippi, which is close by, like South Haven, Horn Lake, the part of Mississippi that's right next door. And then you got all that down. That's the reason why the wind, they was like, well, if the wind blow across Arkansas, then wind gonna come down in some of them parts of Mississippi. The lower, you got northern Mississippi, then you got middle, and then you got the, down by the Gulf. So that wind gonna blow. But when that wind blow, you got parts of Mississippi where the wind gonna blow around them. So that's what they were talking about. You're gonna get ice first. You're gonna get ice. But when you come across from Arkansas and coming into Memphis, you're gonna get snow. You're gonna get snow. And when it comes, it's gonna be around 12, and they was right. See, that's the point I'm making, is that the forecast was right. They had already forecasted last week about snow and about the temperature. They got that right. Because, see, I was up. I be up, something, just like on Friday night. I went to the grocery store, like, hey, they say be prepared. I'm prepared. Got out of work. Got my little errands run, went to the grocery store and everything, was able to go to Kroger and Walmart, all that. Got back to the house before 10 o'clock. I was already in, got my groceries put up and then all that stuff, So I was still up. I kind of nodded off for a minute because after I got to the grocery store, I put my groceries up. I kind of nodded. I sat down in the chair and I kind of nodded off for a minute because I was intending on watching the news, which I did. And that's when I was sitting there while then the news came on because I was trying to catch the forecast. See, by 10 o'clock, it hadn't even snowed yet. But what they had already said was this, that the temperature was going to drop. And then the wind was blowing. See, when I was out there, like a lot of people, I was out in the air and all that. It felt cold and that's what the forecast said. They said it was going to be cold, but it's going to feel colder than what it really is. Because the wind blowing. And it was, because see, Friday morning when I got up, the temperature, it felt different. And then when I got out of work, it was like about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It felt different. Then later on, it got later in the evening. It started feeling colder than what it was. But see, that's the forecast. The weather people got it right. They got it right. And they still getting it right. It's just like right now. You see it's light outside. You can look at, you can see my window. You can see it's light outside. You can see it's light outside. But the thing about it is that it's cold. It's 17 degrees outside. Even though the sun is shining. I mean, it's light outside. But it's cold. It ain't nothing melting outside. That's the point I'm making now. Nothing is melting. Ain't no icicles nowhere. When I got up this morning, I was hearing stuff. They said it was going to be sleet starting from last night all the way to this morning. And this, in a way, it kind of woke me up because I was hearing something on the window. When I was, when I was sleeping, I was hearing stuff knocking, and I was hearing stuff. And you be hearing stuff, and then you be trying to turn over, and I know what it was. It was that sleep, and that's what the forecast. See, the point I'm making is that they got the forecast. I mean, with all this technology, they got it right. They got it right. And then when morning time came, Sunday morning, just like when Friday night, I was up Friday night. And like I said, I kind of nodded off for a minute. And then I woke back up. And then when I woke back up, see, I had ate my dinner. So I said, man, let me go and give me something. This was around about 1 o'clock. But then I kind of looked out the door, because I got a window on my door. I kind of looked out on the street. And nothing had, I'm talking about, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. Ain't nothing I hadn't seen, but what the forecast had said was this, which I knew it was coming. It was over in Arkansas. See, anytime something going on, it's stuff that's going on in another state. And when that wind blow, I already knew it was coming. That's how I know it was coming. See, that's how they get, the forecast. It was already snowing in Arkansas. See, when I got the 10 o'clock news, it was already snow in Arkansas, in Texas. See, part of Texas, and then the wind blowing, and then it's coming across. Then it get to Arkansas, then it's just a matter of time for it. So I'm up at 1 o'clock. When I started noticing something out on the street, because I looked out the door, the window that's on my door, so I looked out the window. That's when I started seeing some little dust on the street, blowing on the street. When I said, oh, there go the snow. There go the snow. It was coming, but it was like little dust blowing out on the street. I was like, man, I'm finna go on to bed. It was like about 2 o'clock Friday, early Saturday morning, about 2 o'clock in the morning. But I knew the snow. But see, the point is this: the meteorologists, they had got it right. I'm talking about they got it right. The hours and the minute, the second, they got it right. They ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. They got it right. And to be honest with you, they still getting it right. The forecast, I'm looking out, that's when I woke up, like Saturday morning. The snow had already fell. I'm talking about when I woke up Saturday morning, the whole street was covered up. Number white. I don't see number white. Number white. And so, and then the temperature outside. So I'm still fumbling around with the thermostat on Saturday morning. Trying to get the house right. And trying to get the vents, open so some heat can be in this house. And so, then, afternoon, because there ain't no way in the world you finna get up out. I looked at my driveway, ain't no way in the world I'm finna get out. I already know that. I'm gonna get out. But the temperature, see, the meteorologists got that right. They already said it's gonna be like in the 20s, and then later on it's gonna, all that, like what it is right now in the teens. I mean, they got it. The meteorologist told it's gonna be in the teens, and they said that Friday on Saturday it's gonna be snow. And you're right. The whole street covered in snow right now. Ain't nothing melted. Ain't nothing melted. Because it's too cold. Nothing has melted. The snow that fell on Friday, early Saturday morning, it's still there. Nothing has melted. And now, then Saturday night, they said the same thing. Because I watched the forecast on Saturday night. Said it was going to be sleet or a mixture. Said it was going to be a mixture because the temperature was so cold that it was mostly, your common sense tell you, you know what snow is, first of all. Who don't know what snow is? First of all. So when the weather people be talking to you, use your common sense. First of all, what is snow? Water. So when the snow falls, the difference between snow and sleet and ice. You know what snow is. It's a certain temperature. You get snow up there in the atmosphere. Up there. You get snow, sleet, it coming from up there first. So when they say snow and when they say sleet, okay, so that's what the weatherman was saying, that based on the temperature, we'd already got snow. But it's a possibility it may be a mixture. It's a possibility you still could get some snow. But what you really gonna get, it says a possibility some rain. But it was sleet. That's what you're gonna get. So Saturday night, even at 10 o'clock when I watched, because see, I had already watched the forecast. They had a forecast at 4. In the afternoon. They had forecast in the afternoon. Because it really wasn't doing nothing. The snow had failed. The snow had failed. It was just cold. So once the snow had fallen, in the early part of Saturday, like Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon, the snow had fallen, which they got it right. But then the forecast was this. Later on in Saturday, it's gonna be some more stuff. It's a possibility it's gonna be a mixture, snow and sleet. They got it right. See, that's the point I'm making, is that they got it right. Because I watched the news at 10. I watched the news early. Because, they had the little square box, It ain't like you couldn't miss it anyway. Because they had the little square box. I'm quite certain you know what I'm talking about. Whatever channel you on, that your local TV station got some kind of, besides cable and, the streaming service. But that little square box was there anyway. So it ain't like you couldn't get the weather. We were pretty much getting weather all day because of that little square box. Even when the forecast, once the news had gone out, but they kept that little square box ain't moved. And so that's it all the time that it was something coming later on. They had already forecast that sleet and snow, that mixture. It was coming Saturday, and they got it right. Because I was hearing something, I'm telling you, I was up Saturday night, early Sunday morning. I was up. Like I said, I ate my dinner. It was like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. But I ate my dinner, and so I was up. And while I was up last night, that's when I was hearing. I was hearing some little bling, 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 bling. And I kind of looked out, I looked out the window to see, but some of it I really couldn't see it. But I was hearing. Something because I've been in the house all day, so I know the difference. When I wasn't hearing anything in the early part of the day, then at nighttime I started hearing some, you know how you start hearing stuff on your window, then you be hearing stuff on your roof. You be hearing little stuff dropping and you be hearing it. So I was hearing it. And like I said, when I woke up this morning, that's really what woke me up. Is that I couldn't, I had went to sleep, but then out my sleep, early this morning, like 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm hearing stuff on my window. Plus, then once I hear the stuff on the window, I'm kind of, out of, I'm not sleeping no more. Then I was kind of hearing stuff on, hitting the house, stuff. So, but there again, they ain't got it right because they had forecasted it on Saturday that it was going to be that sleet, as well as a little mixture of snow, And then the temperature. It already said that the temperature going to be in the teens. And that's what it's been all day. It's still been in the teens. Ain't nothing melting. And then the forecast for tomorrow, it's going to be the same thing. Sleep. It's going to be cold Monday and Tuesday. It's going to be cold in the teens. We might not get out of this until next weekend, the coming weekend. We still be dealing with this cold air. But the point I wanted to make though, hey, the weather people, they pretty accurate today. They pretty accurate. They right on the hour, the day, the minute, the second. They right on time. No matter what channel you watch, the weather people, they on, hey, they pretty accurate today. They pretty accurate today. They ain't. But I'm gonna say this. I know that the weather people are pretty accurate, but I'm gonna be honest. I already knew that this was gonna happen. I'm just gonna admit it. I knew this. I had the 411. I had the inside scoop. That this was gonna happen before the meteorologist even said something about it. I already knew. I know you sitting there like, man, how the hell? The birds. The birds, man. The birds, they told me. Yeah. The birds, they told me, man. They said, man, look, you got some bad weather coming. I know you wonder, like, man, how they? No, I'm saying, see, like I said last weekend, week before. See, the birds do stuff all the time. See, animals do stuff. Sometimes you don't even pay attention. But I'm gonna be honest with you. If you had paid attention to the birds, you would have knew something was up too. It's just like if a tornado comes. If you watch what the birds do, they tell you about the weather. Because I'm gonna tell you this, they be knowing ahead of time before you even know it. The birds be knowing. I'm telling you, if a tornado coming, when the weatherman be talking about a tornado coming in your area, them birds, they be knowing. They be knowing that something to happen. And you'll start noticing that the birds be going in another direction. That's how I knew something was up with the weather. Because I seen the birds going in another direction. I seen them. They were going this way. And when I seen them going that way, I said to myself, you know, I need to be following them damn birds. Because something happened. And then the meteorologist started talking about snow. I was like, oh, that's what it is. The damn birds getting somewhere where it's a little bit warmer, you know. But I knew. See, I can look outside my window right now. I know. You probably see it too. Look out your window. When you get a chance, look out. I guarantee you don't see a bird nowhere. That's what I've been noticing too. I don't see a bird nowhere. Ain't no bird flying nowhere. Nowhere. And you know what else I noticed? The squirrels. See, in this area, you know, got trees and stuff. It ain't a squirrel moving nowhere. Nowhere. They ain't going up and down the trees. They ain't on the fence like they always be. See, this is normal behavior for the squirrel. When there ain't no snow, he up on the fence, jumping off the fence into the trees. He running around in the yard, going back and forth from this yard to the yard across the street, running up and down the pole. Him and the rest of them, they chase each other. He running back and forth across the street, getting in the street, dodging cars. This is the regular routine for the squirrel. So when you don't see him, I know it's because of the weather. See, that's how I be knowing. That's how I know. Because like I said, when I look outside the window, it ain't no squirrel in sight. There ain't no birds. Ain't no squirrels. It just ain't none of the, normal behavior, normal things that be going on when there ain't no snow. Because even when it's cold, the squirrel, he still be out there. He be out there in the trees and running around in the yard and all, doing his regular stuff he always do. But right now, he ain't moving. He ain't doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. He done dug himself in the ground. Or something inside the tree, got a hole in the tree somewhere. But he ain't out there. That's how I knew. I knew before the weather, because the birds. Because I seen them birds flying. They went that way. That's where they at right now. They ain't nowhere outside. Now I guarantee you once the weather clear, then I'll be walking around, it'll be the daggone birds out here chirping and, doing what they always do. But like I said, man, the weather people, they got it right. They're getting pretty accurate with, technology, of course, but still, I mean, they pretty accurate today with the weather. Now, I made my video today. I want to say something about current events, man. And like I said, current events, all this stuff about immigration and It's just a lot of, stuff. National, international, I know, here in the United States of America, that's one of the biggest news making things right now. That's making the news right now is that immigration. Immigration. It is, the big topic. Big topic. And the method of addressing the issue is debatable. It's debatable because the issue is not like it just came up. It's been an issue for many, many years. That's the reason why they built the wall, because immigration was an issue, as well as other things that have been done. But the point I'm making is this: this issue is not just coming up now. It's been an issue. Now, the method of addressing the issue is debatable. We ain't always had a Department of Homeland Security. There ain't always been no Homeland Security. But now we have a Department of Homeland Security. And so when it comes to the Customs and Border Patrol, that's, under the Department of Homeland Security. And, the thing about law enforcement, there's been things that have been done that you would think that all the protesting in the past about abuse of power, you would think that today people, the method of addressing the issue, that would be one of the things, about how law enforcement handle this issue. Because you had local, mostly it was local law enforcement that were being put under the spotlight because they were doing things and still being accused of doing things to violate civil and human rights of black/African American as well as Hispanic, Latinos, as well as anybody else. Women being killed by police. You would think that behind the protesting that would have it would have an influence on the politicians. Is that it was such an outcry for justice because in a way it did make changes. A lot of local police force had to make changes. They had to make changes about training, about sensitivity. There was a lot of things that had to be done to change the way local law enforcement, including state, do their job. You would think that because of that, how are we now sitting here hearing what we hearing? And witnessing it. with all these phones and everything, just like what happened in the court case, the Eric Garner case, and even with George Floyd. We sat there and watched the police kill somebody. We sat there and watched it in both of those cases. And then when it comes to police body cam, I can think back to the Tyrese Nichols court case right here in the city of Memphis, in Shelby County. The body cam, the police body cam video. We sat there and watched this man get beat to death by the local police. They ain't have a care in the world. They actually beat Tyree Nichols to death in front of us. And you would think that behind that, how are you hearing about law enforcement? How are you law enforcement, whether it be federal, state, or local, civilian or military, law enforcement, abusing their authority. Human beings' lives don't even matter. You would think, man, behind the outcry for justice, you would think that something like that happening again all around this country. People protest. I'm talking about, we all can sit here and talk to each other, and we know it will protest nationwide about Tyree Nichols being murdered, about George Floyd. It was nationwide protest. Eric Garner, and what's the name? Some of the women. We've been protesting about these women that been murdered by the police. And then look what happened. A woman being murdered by law enforcement. Look who's sitting in the White House. Talking about taking Greenland. What the hell Greenland got to do, you know? We got to sit up here and have somebody sit up in the White House talking about Greenland. For no reason. You can say whatever the hell you want to say, but there ain't no reason for me or any black/African American to be concerned about Greenland. Greenland ain't no issue for me as a black/African American. It ain't nothing to me. No black/African American in the United States of America concerned about Greenland. Hell, we can't even live without our lives being threatened by law enforcement. What the hell I worry about Greenland for? If it hadn't been protests, I couldn't even live in Memphis, Shelby County, Tennessee, without having to protest. What the hell I'm worried about Greenland for? I mean, you know, hey, some things just don't resonate, you know. That don't resonate. Don't see no point. No point at all. Man, to see law enforcement killing people out here, And then to say, and then to try to justify, not only, kill somebody, but then try to justify. And just to sit here and listen to people talking, man. I mean, I'm just like, my eyes get big. I'm like, are you serious? How in the hell can you stand there in front of other people, man? You killed a human being. A citizen, you know what I'm saying? You kill somebody. Abuse of authority. That is a serious issue with me. I don't need to hear nothing about no damn Greenland. But I know one damn thing. I live here in the United States of America. And the Constitution is what you know what I'm saying? That's what I live by. My civil rights, my human rights, it's just what I'm going to stand for. I'm going to stand for my rights. Because if I don't stand up for my rights, ain't nobody else, you know what I'm saying? Their rights don't mean nothing. See, you got to make rights mean something. If rights don't mean nothing to you, if your rights don't mean any damn thing to you, nothing that's being done by politicians don't matter. Because see, how is it that a person can be sitting in the White House and knowing damn well that behind all these court cases where these people have committed crime with law enforcement, have killed innocent civilians by law enforcement. And when people in the community hear about it, are informed about it, people protest. People protest against the injustice. And they made it clear right then and there that from that point of view, it's wrong. So how in the hell can anybody be an elected official and not know that the people at the local level, the people in this state, as well as nationwide, made it perfectly clear that it was unjust for people in law enforcement to abuse their authority. Made it clear. So how in the hell can anybody be sitting in the White House and can hear that somebody in law enforcement killed somebody? And you know the thing about it, man? You know one thing about the FBI? I'm gonna show you, I'm finna give everybody a reminder about law enforcement. The FBI. How many times do you hear about the FBI actually? They carry a gun, but it's something that the FBI do. Before they actually goddamn it had to kill somebody. When the last time you actually heard about the FBI actually pulling the trigger on somebody? They carry guns. When the last time you heard? It's been a long time since the Federal Bureau of Investigation agents in the field actually kill somebody. And they bring a lot of people in. Matter of fact, you know they just brought somebody in who was on the run. One of the biggest, used to be on the ski slopes. You know they brought him in. Used to be on the ski slopes. Used to be one of them skiers for the U.S. ski team. Then turned drug pusher. He got brought in. He been on the run for some years. But see, when it comes to law enforcement, when it comes to killing somebody, See, I want to remind you, the Federal Bureau of Investigation and how they handle crime. They deal with criminals all the time. They not different than local law enforcement. They not different than the Customs and Border Patrol. See, I want to give you a reminder. I want to give everybody a reminder. The Federal Bureau of Investigation. When you have agents in the field, they carry guns. Yeah. When the last time you heard of the FBI killing somebody? Doing their job. It's been a very, very rare that the FBI actually had to pull that weapon and had to fire to kill somebody. So to hear about the Customs and Border Patrol, I mean, what's different between, you know what I mean, that people got to hear about the Customs and Border Patrol actually killing somebody, but you don't even hear the Federal Bureau of Investigation killing somebody. And they deal with criminals all the time. You don't hear it. And then of course, the Federal Bureau of Investigation know it. When local law enforcement do something, of course, what federal charges possible? They always, anytime the local police do something, the federal government always looking to see what kind of federal charges, violating civil rights, what kind of federal charges can be brought up. That's the progress that's been made. See, all them years of protesting, that's the thing that can be said. That because of the years of protesting, when these damn local police do something, the federal government do be ready to prosecute. They be looking, oh yeah, the federal prosecutors, they be looking to bring charges. They be prepared. When local police do something, federal authorities, they be right there. They be ready to bring federal charges. But see, that's the progress that's been made. So how the hell do you think that sound hearing about a law enforcement agency, for example, Customs and Border Patrol, killing somebody? Or law enforcement period. It don't sound, and then, man, how somebody up in the federal government standing around giving, a press conference. Man, you can't justify killing somebody. You can't justify killing somebody. I'm telling you what's, it may seem like at this moment, but I guarantee you, you push the issue, keep pushing the issue, I guarantee some federal charges gonna end up being brought against the people that's being identified of killing somebody. Just like this woman that got killed in Minnesota. And then now look what happened behind it. And then they look like they recorded it. From what I seen today, people be, people be out there with phones, and just look what happened. People out there already protesting. Look, let's see how that sound. People in Minnesota already protesting. Already protesting. People all around the United States of America also showing support. And then, at the same time, then you hear something else. Another person get killed by the Customs and Border Patrol. Customs and Border Patrol. That don't even sound right. It don't even sound right. And then, now they got somebody's phone actually video recorded. And then when you see who this man is, just like when you see who this woman is, they got killed. And now look, here it is, a man who's I think the man was a nurse, wasn't he? Law-abiding citizen. They're like, you got killed. I mean, then when I seen a couple of them guys with them guns, with the Customs Border Patrol, they just shot that man up. I mean, we all sit here, we talk about it, what we saw. You know what it looked like. I seen somebody with a gun shoot, pointing at this man, but I seen another doing the same thing, 2 or 3 of them. They had the man down on the ground. You mean to tell me all them agents, you can't subdue nobody? All them agents, the man was already on the ground. He was already on the ground. You couldn't get no handcuffs on the man, just take him down to the station or whatever, put him in the back of the car or whatever. And you don't think no charge is gonna come behind that? Man, you can sit around and talk about a man got a gun or whatever. Hey, we protested about this. You can't kill nobody. You can't make it sound like you can justify committing murder. You can't. I'm telling you, I know what's gonna happen. It's, like that old saying, the wheels of justice start, but I guarantee you, people gonna keep on protesting. I watch what's gonna happen. Because we done came too damn far to be sitting around talking about somebody with law enforcement. Think you're above the law. And then the other case, then let me say this. If I ain't mistaken, I'm gonna be honest, I found out about another incident. Somebody, if I ain't mistaken, I seen a YouTube video. I'm just, so, and next thing I was hearing something about a man being murdered, being killed. I think some off duty. Somebody was off duty, an agent or something was off duty or whatever. And from what I heard on the video, I think the guy was, was a Customs and Border Patrol and wasn't even at work. Wasn't even at work. Was off from work. Killed somebody. I think they said something like he went home. He was at New Year's. Now it's coming back to me. New Year's. That's what it was. Now it's coming back to me. It was New Year's, the New Year's Eve thing. This black man. Now it's coming back to me. Black man in his home celebrating New Year's with a gun. And people do this stuff. They've been doing it. They ain't nothing new. In and everybody, celebrate New Year's. If they don't celebrate with fireworks, they have a gun and they shoot in the air. You know, that ain't nothing new now. That ain't nothing new. People do that all over this country, man. Every holiday, I'm talking about 4th of July, what, Memorial Day, what, New Year's, hell, Christmas, what, and go on Labor Day, Halloween, you name it. Birthdays, what else? You know, and people do, you know, stuff like that, you know. From what I heard on some off-duty Customs and Border Patrol person was off duty. Wasn't even on duty. I guess he must live close by or something. They said, from what they said, this guy went and put his uniform on and just went over there and killed some man. Killed that man. Like I said, man, the wheels of justice will be turning. That'll be the same case. It may, you know, at this moment, but man, all that protesting, it wasn't in vain. It wasn't in vain. It just, you know, let the wheels of justice. I guarantee you, when you thought you got away with not being punished, the wheels of justice will be turning. What time? No. The wheels of justice will be turning. You don't, you know what I'm saying? It'll just be still nationwide protest. Because when we know things, you know, when you hear, when you be informed about things like that, you don't just sit on your hands. You know, and that's what people haven't been doing. It's been peaceful protest. No matter what law enforcement do, they can shoot pepper spray and, you know, and all that. But I mean, the majority of the protest has been peaceful. Just like now in Minnesota, peaceful protest. Apparently, it's the law enforcement that's being violent, or, you know, people getting killed and all this by law enforcement for exercising their right, their constitutional right to protest for right. Like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, you know, you got the right to protest for right. That's your right. You got to protest. You got the right to protest for right. That's your right. And then here it is, you got some guy sitting up in the White House talking about Greenland. Man. But you know, hey, the wheels of justice. It's all, you know, the wheels of justice gonna be turning. The wheels of justice gonna be turning. And just, you know, that, you know, I guess, you know, apparently it must be something about this administration or something, you know. Apparently, I don't, you know. But one thing, you know, ain't nobody above the law. So, you know, it might take it. This might be one of them. This gonna be one of them times in where we're gonna have, you know, it's gonna take us some time, and, you know. But the wheels of justice gonna be turning. The wheels of justice gonna be turning. It may take some time, but it's gonna be justice. Because it's just like Dr. Martin Luther King in his death. It took some time, but it was justice. Medgar Evers, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton, the list go on. You know, it took some time. The Freedom Riders, people that we ain't even know I seen some on social media. Some people disappeared. They ain't never been heard from again. Trying to get people the right to vote in Mississippi. See, things like that, that's the reason why it's going, the wheels of justice. The wheels of justice. Now look, now the state of Mississippi got a new flag and, but it took time. Hey, it took time, I still, I did my video today, but some of the things I want to do, but some things, sometimes current events can, just, and because it just, it ain't right, and that's all I can, that's why if I can sit here and just make my video and just say, hey, it ain't right. It ain't right for a man to be killed when he at his own home on New Year's and talking about some person who got a job. Talking about they got a job working for Customs and Border Patrol who wasn't even on duty. I don't give a damn if you was on duty. You're not above the law. See, this is why I remind people about the Federal Bureau of Investigation. See, while we sitting here talking about the Customs and Border Patrol, we got a Federal Bureau of Investigation, like as well as U.S. Marshals. You don't hear things like this because they got them strict guidelines about firearms and when they apprehend, because they do this 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All over the world. We got the FBI all over the world. They apprehend criminals all day long. 365 days out of a year. The Federal Bureau of Investigation, they apprehend criminals 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of a year. When do you hear that the FBI is abusing their authority? That's very, very rare. I don't even remember the last time I heard of an FBI agent being accused of doing anything. Can you? It's been, it's very rare. Very rare. I can't remember. I don't remember hearing none of it. But I know we hear about local law enforcement a lot. All over the United States of America, even today. Man, I just, what? I'm talking about. Sometimes social media, we live in a day and time, social media. Man, you know what I seen on social media today? Something happened in Baltimore, Maryland, with local police. I couldn't even, now, it just, sometimes those stuff just come. I was just sitting there on social media. And I just happened to see something, on Facebook or something, where the local police was riding in the car. And some young guy, African American, man, don't you know this guy in the police tried to run him over? I'm not making this up. I'm actually, I sat there and watched in Baltimore, local police, white police officer, male, riding in a car. He actually tried to run over yeah, he did. He tried to run over that young man in a police car. You probably seen it too. But it just came to my mind. And that was just this morning. Just happened to seen it. This local police, see, that's what we talking about. This the damn mess that the local police do. Even today, after all that protest, still local police. Still local police, man. It ain't just, but I just haven't seen Baltimore murder. But I'm serious. A lot of you, you probably seen it too. Because I seen it this morning. I was like, man, what the hell is wrong? I'm actually sitting here looking at a white male police officer in a squad car trying to run over. He never did try to arrest nobody, but he was just out there running his mouth. So this young guy just walked away. And when he walked away, this guy jumped in his squad car, tried to run over this little kid, man. He did. I'm like, man, what the? Man, police be, even today, still, the local police. Man, the local police. But see, hey, you gotta stand up for your rights. You gotta stand up for your rights. You just gotta stand up for your rights. Man, I wouldn't even intend on, but current events sometimes can just, I just gotta spend my time just talk about current events, man. But still, as long as I make my video, I'm cool, Because there's, it'll affect me, it'll affect me, It could be me, where the police out here trying to run over me. That's why I try not to even be out like that. I really don't. Sometimes if it's somewhere I gotta go, I just go straight, directly to that location. I don't try not to be like lingering around, no. Especially out in public, because other people be around, and I don't want nobody else to be an excuse for no local police, man, to get me mixed up with some that I ain't even had nothing to do with now. So I just go straight to just like Friday night, go straight to the grocery store. No in between, Because I don't want, other people, could be mixed up in some mess. And I don't want to get drugged up in there and then talking about no damn police. No. But, like I said, man, current events and everything, I wanted to make my video. That's the main thing. So, but, the weather and everything. I mean, as long as I'm, got the thermostat on, still trying to keep my feet warm. But, 17 degrees in the teens, it ain't always, I don't want to just keep going up, put me, I know it's cold outside. It's cold outside, man. It's 17 degrees outside, But I mean, I got my, I'm comfortable, I think I'm at 85, 86 on a thermostat. So, it's just, I can feel that look when it's lower, heat rises. So, when it's a little bit lower, I can feel a little, I can feel a little cold down, but it ain't too bad. But I mean, heat rises, so. But I mean, that's just really what, been the thing that's been talked, besides the weather, you gotta hear something, like people being killed by law enforcement. And it kind of, be like, man, we protest and protest and protest, And it's like it's still this point of view that people just don't matter. You know, we talk about Black Lives Matter, you know, man. Like your life, you know, this way, but you know, this way law enforcement, the way the majority of white people had this point of view. Like, we ain't important, you know, give a damn, you know. But, you know, we give a damn about ourselves. And that's the reason why we stand up. We as Black/African American, and all around the world, you see Black/Africans standing up for their human rights, in addition to their civil rights, but stand up for their human rights as a human being. All over the world, as a human being. In addition to the civil rights, we stand up for being humans. Because we ain't been looked at as being anything like that. Now, it was my intention to continue on today's video where I left off last week. But before I end today's video, I'm just going to say this, that all that Gnostic nonsense is just a big lie. Because, you know, this is the first of the year. And in the past, we as human beings, we ain't have a United Nations. And this is an important thing to note. This is an important thing to highlight. We had governments. Just like, for example, let's say the Egyptian dynasty. Let's just talk about, let's mention in different parts of the world, let's just mention, like, we hear about China, the empire in China, different dynasties in China. See, we had governments. Of course, we know Roman, Greek. But, you know, this whole idea of a government, it's not just local, you know, like European. But it was people all over the world had some type of some type of government. And so, when we talk about this polytheist, believing that there's more than one God. And from what we know today, we know that there was a time when there was a very prevalent way of thinking. Now we know we talk about animism, about the spirits in everything. What we say about animism is that what you talk about supreme being, they never said that. Because many people in sub-Saharan Africa, Niger, Congo, they'll talk about, in their language, about the same thing, about supreme being and what they believe. See, I got a couple books behind me, so, you know. Oh yeah, I got a couple books behind me. I got a few books like West African Traditional Religion and African Traditional Religion, so on and so forth. You know, they behind me. So, you know, as well as now, got my laptop and got my desktop in front of me. So, various. So, like I said, when it comes to the Niger Congo, this whole thing about animism, than what you said about the supreme being or supreme beings. And then let's not forget about shamanism, about trying to have this interaction with the spirit world. And the same thing about supreme being or supreme beings. And then when we talk about the Judaism, when God said, "O Israel, your God is one." One. Monotheism. And when it comes to the Messiah, that same one, based on belief, revealed in the flesh, the Son of God, Jesus Christ, being one, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, being one. Catholic faith, with Roman Catholic, Eastern Orthodox Catholic Church, Oriental Orthodox Catholic Church, as well as what we call Protestant churches, believing that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, believing in one. And let's not forget that in the past, when we talk about the Indo-European, like we say, that opinion, that point of view was prevalent. That polytheist point of view was prevalent. It took many years. Many people converted to Judaism. You know, that's one thing, you know, we don't want to not highlight, is how many Indo-Europeans converted to be Jewish before Adolf Hitler. Let's just say this. Before Adolf Hitler, you see what I'm talking about? You see the Europeans, there were many people, Indo-European, who were Jewish. Many. There was a lot of Jews who were Indo-European, as well as Catholic. A lot. So what we talking about, polytheists, they pretty, you know, I ain't gonna say it disappeared, but it wasn't as prevalent. Just like today. Billions of people on this earth are Catholic, and it's still growing. Roman Catholic, Eastern Orthodox Catholic, Oriental Orthodox Catholic, still growing. Belief in one. And I don't even say that the Jewish faith ain't spread. Don't you see all these people that are Jewish? You know, in every state here in the United States of America, in every state, every local, in every county, I guarantee you, it's some Jews all around this country. Believe in one supreme being, one. If it ain't a Catholic, I mean, if it ain't Jewish, it's Catholic, as well as the Protestant. Believe in one supreme being, one. So, in addition to what I was talking about last week about that Gnostic nonsense, claiming that it's a supreme being up here and then there's another God down here and all that BS. You know, and then when you see who it is, some heretics, like the church father told you, we sat here and watched it. We know who it was. some heretic Jews. And then Rabbi Akiva, one of the most respected rabbis in Judaism, had told you, did not want that Jewish philosophy to be an influence, and he didn't want that Gnosticism to have any influence on Judaism. And also, the Catholic Church, not just Orthodox, the Catholic Church, all Catholic churches, do not sit idly by and let that Gnostic nonsense be an influence. The Catholic Church has been standing against Gnostic ever since. And still doing it today. Talking about some God up here and then talking about there's another God down here and then talking about the material world. Man, some BS. See, this is the reason why when I made my video last week, see, this is the beginning of the year. And we were talking about sacred tradition. Sacred tradition. Sacred tradition. That's the reason why it's important. Because it's sacred. It's a tradition. One supreme being. One sacred tradition. You can go on somewhere with that BS, man. You can go on with that. Because from this point on, no. Gonna stand against. See, that what at verses I races against heresies. Against heresies. That what that verse I races against heresies. Not just one, all heresies. So you can go on with that BS. That what sacred tradition mean. That's what sacred tradition mean. It's to stand against heresies. It's one supreme being. One. See, that's the reason why when you see people on this earth today, the Catholic Church is spreading like wildfire. All over the world, the Catholic Church is growing. It's growing. It was already in the billions with Roman Catholic, Eastern Orthodox Catholic, Oriental Orthodox Catholic. It's steady growing. It versus heresies against heresies, standing against Gnosticism. They're BS. Because it's some ignorant nonsense. I made my video today. Like I said, I'm talking about it, but that's really what I wanted to make sure I continue what I talked about last week on my last video last week. But current events kind of took much of my time. But because it affect me like it affect everybody else. Law enforcement killing somebody, man. And instead of the weather being, or sports, because, let me just say this, this supposed to be the weekend today, AFC and NFC, but you got to have stuff in the news, law enforcement doing stuff. I mean, not just bringing illegal immigrants, but I mean actually killing people. The Customs and Border Patrol, and then you got somebody up in the White House supposed to be the president. You supposed to be the commander in chief. You supposed to be the president. You supposed to be in charge. You supposed to be in charge. Whoever the person was that you recommended to be nominated, to be over that, to be over the Customs and Border Patrol, to be over the Department of Homeland Security, law-abiding citizens being murdered by law enforcement. By law enforcement. And look who's sitting up in the White House. He pretty much gave you a pardon. In so many, in his own way, he's just really just giving you a pardon. Instead of just getting a piece of paper and saying you've been pardoned, whatever you done, don't worry about it. If anything, they want to bring charges against the victim. The way they talking. They want to put them in jail. Want to give them criminal, felonies and put them in, They talking about this man like the fact that he had a gun. That was justification. Man. But hey, the wheels of justice turning. The wheels of justice turning. So, people protesting. And I guarantee you, it won't be in vain. It won't be in vain. But I guess I'm going to go ahead and get ready to end today's video. And I'm come back on my next video, though. And we're going to pick right back up where we left off. And that includes prehistoric religion, traditional, ancient African religion. When I come back on my next video, I'm gonna pick up right where we left, and we're gonna continue to stand against this Gnostic foolishness, this ignorance, and gonna continue. But sacred tradition, because that's important. See, if it's not no sacred tradition, if the traditions are not close to your heart, if you don't have any value, if it don't mean anything to you, then you ain't gonna hold on. But it do. That was sacred tradition. And the reason why so many people today, even today, you see people that are Jewish. You see people all over the world that are Catholic. And it's steady growing. Because of sacred tradition. And trying to syncretize. You don't get away with that. But, people try to do stupid stuff. Like some of these gangs and all this. But you ain't gonna get away with it. See? Sacred tradition. sacred tradition. One God, one. When God said, Israel, O Israel, your God is one. Sacred tradition. The Messiah, the chosen one, the Christ, Jesus. Was born into this world of a virgin. Was crucified and rose in glory. One. Sacred tradition. I'm going to get ready to end today's video. Again, my name is Eric D. Johnson, also on BrightShine. I live right here in the city of Memphis. It's in the county seat of the state of Tennessee. Thank my family, my support for your continued courage and support. And I'm going to continue to work on, like I said, my harmonica and all them opportunities that are available. I'm going to take advantage of, you better believe I'm taking advantage of, oh yeah. I had to deal with going to work in there. But hey, let me tell you, because 12 bar blues, 8 bar blues, 16 bar blues. Cause I'm glad the 16 bar blues. No, I ain't want to forget ragtime anyway. I really did. That was a time when ragtime was the most popular music. It was. So I ain't trying to forget. And then he got this 32 bar form. It's too many opportunities. Too many. So like I said, I'm gonna come back on my next video. Gonna pick up right where I left off. And you take care of yourself. And I know the weather is nationwide. And so but it ain't gonna last. And just try to stay warm. Try to stay warm. You take care of yourself. And thank my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, Son God, for all the blessings and guides He provides us all with. Continue to pray about those natural disasters, and continue to pray about these wars that are being fought. Continue to pray. Don't stop praying. Don't stop praying. So you take care of yourself. Wish each and every one of you very best.